For many years, the galaxy believed humans were nothing more than an old tale. Scholars said they were weak. Leaders claimed they had destroyed themselves. History books showed no trace of their existence. Even their name was removed from official records. When someone mentioned humans, people laughed. They never mattered. They said, it's just a minor species that disappeared. On the central world of the Galactic Empire, Xernaxus, alien children were taught that humans had once tried to rise but had failed. The Empire had crushed them long ago. Some even claimed humans never existed at all, just a made-up enemy to unite the galaxy. But they were wrong. Hidden on a dark moon, deep in the shadows of a forgotten star system, humans still lived. Not many. Only a few colonies had survived the fall. But those who did remember everything. They remembered the betrayal, the destruction of Earth, the lies, and most of all, they remembered the silence. The silence that came after the Empire thought they had won. Commander Eli stood inside a dim control room on the human base. He stared at a screen that showed alien news broadcasts. On every channel, the same thing, played celebrations, pride, and false victories. They really believe we're gone, Eli said. Beside him, Lieutenant Kara adjusted her headset. They don't just believe it. Even our homeworld is marked uninhabitable. Eli narrowed his eyes. Then it's time we remind them. For decades, humans had worked in secret. They built their technology from the wreckage of old ships and scraps stolen from galactic trade routes. They studied the Empire's weapons, tactics, and communications. And when they were ready, they created 5 ships. Small, deadly, and quiet. These were not flashy warships. They didn't carry banners or boast great size. Instead, they were designed for one purpose: strike hard, vanish fast. Every weapon was custom-built. Every engine was silent. Each ship had a name, but the names were not shared outside their teams. The galaxy didn't deserve to know yet. Humans had waited long enough. Now, they had a plan. They would take the Empire's capital, not in a long war, not with massive fleets, but in just 48 hours. While the aliens laughed and forgot, the humans had prepared. And now, the ghosts were coming. On the alien world of Trivor, a young alien officer named Darvik received a strange report. We've lost contact with Outpost Zen-91, a voice said over the comms. Must be a storm, Darvik replied, half asleep. Those sectors are always breaking. But then another call came, and another. Outposts were going silent, one after the other. No signs of attack. No distress signals. Just ... gone within 3 hours. 15 outposts on the edge of the Empire had vanished. Panic began to spread, but the Empire leaders didn't take it seriously. Just malfunctions, one general said. Maybe pirates? Nothing to worry about. On Xernaxus, the capital, the High Council met. Their golden robes shimmered under the lights. They discussed trade, politics, and art. When someone mentioned the missing stations, the counselor waved it off. We've ruled for 1,000 years, she said proudly. No one dares challenge us. But as she spoke, in the far corner of the galaxy, 5 human warships jumped into stealth formation. Cloaked and visible to scanners, they drifted silently toward Xern. Axis Commander Eli sat inside his ship, heart steady, eyes focused. Remember, he said to his team, they think we don't exist. That's our power. Lieutenant Kara smiled. Then let's show them what a ghost can do. The human ships didn't make a sound. Their signals were hidden. Their engines were shielded. They passed right through defense lines, and nobody saw them by the time the alien sensors picked up the first sign of something strange, it was too late. On the ground of Xernaxus, lights flickered. Power grids failed. Military communication. Towers shut down. Emergency calls echoed through empty channels. Soldiers ran to their stations, but their weapons didn't power on. Their systems were locked. And then, the human Marines landed. Small squads, fast-moving, masked, and armored. They moved through the city with precision. Every target was mapped. Every path was planned. They didn't fire at civilians. They didn't shout orders. They just moved forward, swift, calm, unstoppable. Alien guards tried to fight. Some raised their rifles. Others shouted for help, but their shots missed. Their commands were jammed, and their hopes broke in less than 6 hours. The outer sections of Zernaxis were under human control. Commander Eli watched the map change on his screen. Red dots turned blue. Enemy zones became silent. "How's the clock?" Replied, 42 hours left. Eli nodded. Then we moved faster. The galaxy still didn't know what was happening. On other worlds, alien news shows still joked about the past. Humans. Please, a famous alien host laughed. There, like bedtime stories, meant to scare children. But that laughter would not last long, as Zernaxis trembled, and humans took step after step forward. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson it had forgotten. You can erase a name from your books. You can cover a planet in lies. But you cannot kill a species that refuses to die. And humans were far from dead. On the surface of Zernaxis, the sun was rising over broken towers. Streets were empty. Fires burned in small circles where human strike teams had disabled power hubs. The alien city, once proud and full of light, now looked like a ghost town. Commander Eli stood in the center of a captured control station.
Oh.
His eyes moved across the screens as they showed one alien district after another falling under human control. Every zone was being secured without loud battles or large numbers. The humans worked in silence, in shadows. Like a storm no one could see coming. 40 hours left, Lieutenant Kara said, checking her countdown device. "We're ahead of schedule," Eli replied, "but don't slow down. The deeper we go, the harder they'll fight." In one of the underground data bunkers, Private Sam was downloading classified Empire files. Beside him, an alien technician lay tied up, eyes wide with fear. Sam didn't speak to him, just worked quickly, fingers moving fast across the controls. These aliens had been watching every species. Sam whispered to himself. But not us. They really thought we were gone. In the skies above, a few alien patrol ships tried to launch. But human jammers disabled their systems before they could get airborne. Other ships were destroyed quietly before even clearing the ground. Human stealth tech was far beyond anything the Empire expected. On a nearby planet, alien Commander Thresk shouted into his comms, "Why is there no signal from Zernaxis? Where are the security updates?" "I don't know, sir," his officer answered. "Every channel is dead. It's like the entire capital just shut off." "Send a scout fleet," Thresk ordered. "I want eyes on that planet now." 5 alien scout ships jumped toward Zernaxis. None of them made it back. No distress signal, no warning, just silence. On Zernaxis, alien forces began to wake up. They weren't trained for sudden war. They believed their world was untouchable. Some tried to fight, but most were confused. Commander Eli knew that confusion was their greatest weapon. He used it again and again. Every human team followed a strict plan: take key points, avoid large battles, jam all communications, and spread fear without making a sound. By the 20-hour mark, nearly half of the capital was under human control. In a high tower, an alien politician named Varzo screamed at his guards. "Where are our fleets? Where is command? Why hasn't anyone stopped them? We don't know who they are." One soldier shouted back, "They don't speak. They don't leave survivors. We don't even know what they look like." Varzo looked out the window and saw smoke rising. "From the center district, find out," he whispered, "before it's too late." But it was already too late. Human engineer Megan crouched near a power station, placing timed charges. "This one powers their orbital defenses," she said into her mic. "Set it," Kara's voice replied. "Then move. We're opening the next path." As the station exploded, the shockwave sent fear across the last few command posts. Thought it was a natural failure. They didn't yet understand someone was attacking them from inside their capital. By now, alien families were locking themselves in their homes. Rumors were spreading. Some said it was a rebellion. Others said monsters had come from deep space. No one guessed it was humans. That was exactly what Eli wanted. In the old ruins beneath the city, where ancient tunnels connected forgotten military vaults, a human squad found a hidden data core. It contained the original maps of Zernaxis and the old war records from centuries ago. "Look at this," Private Nash said, wiping dust off a screen. "Our battle logs. They kept everything, even after saying we were gone. Never forgot us," Corporal Lena replied. "They just hid the truth." Above ground, news was finally breaking across the galaxy. Trade ships trying to reach the Empire's capital were blocked. Merchant networks were silent. Nothing was leaving or entering Zernaxis. Alien media started asking questions. Why can't we contact the Empire's core world? Is it a system failure or something worse? Has war come to the Empire? On the planet Corvus, a veteran general sat in his war room and listened. "Prepare the 7th Fleet," he said. "If the Empire's capital is under attack, we respond." Immediately, his officers stared at him. "Do we know the enemy, sir?" He paused. "No, but if it's who I think it is, then we're already too late." Back on Zernaxis, Commander. Eli stood with Kara in a captured palace. He stared at the Empire's old war flag, still hanging from the ceiling. It was gold and black. With a blazing sun at the center, Eli reached out and tore it down. 32 hours left, Kara said. "Quietly, we don't need that long," Eli replied. They walked away, leaving behind a simple human message on the wall. Written in Old English letters, it said, "You forgot us. We didn't forget you." Meanwhile, deep inside the central data tower, human teams had just reached the galactic communication system. It was the most guarded place on the planet, but the guards were already gone. They had fled hours ago. The tower stood silent, and soon the humans would speak. Inside the galactic communication tower, human engineers worked fast. This place controlled all signals to and from Zernaxis. With it, the Empire connected to every system, every fleet, every leader. Now, it was under human hands. Commander Eli stood beside the main console. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "We ready?" he asked. Lieutenant Kara nodded. "Connection stable. Their backup lines are blocked. Once we send the message, they'll know." "Good, Eli," said, "but let's make sure they never forget." Megan, the lead tech, tapped a few buttons. Screens around the room blinked. One by one, they showed live feeds from across the Empire. Political chambers, news stations, trade centers, all of them were now linked to this tower. "You're on in 10 seconds, Megan said. Eli looked at the camera. He wore no medals. No fancy uniform. Just a black vest with an old human patch on the chest, Earth symbol half burned, half dash faded. Then he spoke. "To the galaxy," Eli said calmly. "You told your children we were myths. You deleted our name from your records. You laughed. When someone remembered us," his voice was clear, strong. "We didn't vanish. We rebuilt. And now your capital belongs to us." Across the galaxy, millions of beings stopped what they were doing. Some gasped. Others dropped their tools, their drinks, their pride. The man on their screens was human. "You erased us from your history," Eli continued, "but we never erased you from ours. We remembered everything. The bombings, the lies, the silence." He stepped closer, and now, in 48 hours, the Empire will fall not because of numbers, but because we stopped waiting. Then the screen went black. The silence after was heavy. News anchors didn't speak. Leaders didn't blink. And in the Galactic Fleet's command chambers, alarms began to scream. On Zernaxis, the remaining alien commanders finally realized who was behind the invasion. "Humans," one of them whispered. "They're back. The Empire's upper." Command Base General Vorak slammed his fist on the table. "How could this happen?" he shouted. "They were gone." "Clearly not," another general replied. "They've taken control of our most important systems. We don't even know how many they are." Vorak stared at the screen, watching a loop of the human broadcast. "Prepare the capital's last division," he said. We will not fall without a fight. On the streets of Xernaxis, human soldiers moved like shadows. They didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. This was not a mission of revenge. This was a reminder. And every step they took brought fear. To those who once mocked them, in one district, a group of alien citizens hid in a shelter. They whispered stories of the old war. Some had never believed it. Others had forgotten. But now, no one doubted. A child asked, "What are humans like?" An elder replied, "They are what we feared the most: quiet, patient, and when the time comes, unstoppable." In the skies above, the first wave of reinforcements arrived. Alien warships dropped from hyperspace in formation. They were big, strong, and full of soldiers. But as soon as they reached orbit, they found nothing to lock onto. Where are they? The alien fleet commander barked, "Why can't we see the enemy?" His crew scrambled through systems. Scanner showed nothing. No heat, no energy spikes. No movement. "Double quotes, sir. Something's wrong," an officer said. "They're hiding, and I think they've hacked our targeting systems." Just then, human ships decloaked. They didn't fire giant beams or flashy missiles. Instead, they sent focused pulses that shut down the alien ship's power. The battleships floated helpless in space as human drones attached to their hulls and fried their engines. Within minutes, half the alien fleet was neutralized without a single shot fired. The rest turned back, retreating into hyperspace. On the ground, Kara received the update. "Sky is clear," she said. "They won't try that again without thinking twice." Eli nodded. "We keep pushing." By now, the Empire's palace was within reach. It was the heart of everything, where orders were given, where lies had begun, and where the final symbol of the old rule still stood. Eli looked at his map. "Move in 5 minutes. What if they have traps?" Kara asked. "Then we deal with them," Eli said. "We've come too far to stop now." The final human squads marched through the center of Xernaxis. This time, alien resistance was strong. Soldiers fired from rooftops, tanks rolled into streets, explosions lit up the skies, but humans didn't break. They moved like water-changing paths, surrounding the enemy, hitting weak points. Their weapons were simple but effective. Their minds were focused. They didn't care about glory, only the mission. In the Empire's command hall, General Vorak watched as his guards fell one by one, seal the doors. He shouted, "We hold this position." But no door could stop what was coming. Human breachers moved in. Silent signals and perfect timing, they stormed the hall. In less than 2 minutes, it was over. Eli walked into the room. Vorak stood, with his back straight, jaw clenched. "You won't rule us," Vorak said. "You're nothing but ghosts." Eli stepped close. "Ghosts don't take capitals," he said. "We're not here to rule. We're here to make sure you never forget us again." He picked up the Empire's command badge and dropped it on the floor. As it hit the ground, the sound echoed through the silent hall. Outside, humans raised a new signal, not a flag, not a symbol, just a single word, broadcast through every channel. Remember? Panic spread across the galaxy like fire. Aliens watched the human message again and again. Every news channel, every screen, every device repeated the same broadcast commander, Eli's voice. Calm and steady, claiming control over Xernaxis. It didn't matter how powerful the Empire had been. It didn't matter that humans were supposed to be extinct. None of that could hide the truth anymore. Humans were back, and it'd taken the Empire's capital in less than 2 days. Distant world of Orvex, a council of allied species, met in secret. Leaders from different empires gathered, whispering fears and questions. "We were told humans were destroyed," one leader said. "Then we were told lies." Another replied. "What do they want now?" Someone asked. No one answered. Back on Xernaxis, the final defense lines around the Imperial Palace had fallen. Broken weapons and shattered walls marked the ground. Human soldiers stood guard at every entrance. The Empire's flag had been removed. No new flag was raised, only silence and watchful eyes. Inside the throne chamber, Commander Eli stood in front of a grand table made of crystal and stone. Alien leaders used to sit here and plan the fate of the galaxy. Now the room was quiet. The chairs empty. Lieutenant Kara entered with her datapad. Status update, she said. 45 districts secure. Public areas under control. Remaining Empire troops have surrendered or fled. Any news from space? Eli asked. No enemy fleets nearby? The outer systems are too afraid too. Move good, Eli said. We hold the line. In the lower levels of the palace, human engineers were removing old data drives. Information on past wars, secret missions, and hidden decisions were being collected. This wasn't just about taking a planet. This was about showing the galaxy the truth. For too long, the Empire had told its own story, and now the real one would be told by the very people they tried to erase. Near the edge of the city, Corporal Lena led a patrol through a civilian zone. Aliens peeked through windows. Some hid. Others watched in silence. Lena ordered her team, no harm. No threats. We are not here to hurt the innocent. A small alien girl stepped out and held up a drawing. It was old, faded, and clearly made by a child. The image showed a human and an alien shaking hands. My grandfather said, "Your people once." Helped ours, she said softly. Lena looked down at her, then nodded. We still can. The girl smiled and ran back inside. Not all aliens were enemies. Some remembered the old times before war, before betrayal. But even those memories had been buried under fear and lies. In the human command room, Kara read a report from orbit. Fleet activity has dropped across 3 sectors. Several border planets have started diplomatic talks with our listening posts. So they're starting to understand, Eli said, or they're just scared. Either way, he replied, they're listening. In the far east quarter of Zern Axis, a strange signal was detected. A large alien transport was trying to leave the planet secretly. It was carrying high-ranking officials of the old empire. Those who gave the orders to erase humans from history. Human scouts quickly moved in. A brief skirmish followed, but it was over in minutes. The transport was disabled, its passengers captured. One of them, a gray-scaled creature named Cerdo, was brought before Commander Eli. You don't understand what you've done, Cerdo hissed. The Empire brought order to this galaxy. Destroying us? Eli asked. By doing what was needed. No, Eli said firmly. You made the galaxy forget us. Oh, we've reminded them. And we're not done yet. He turned to the guards. Send them to interrogation. Not for punishment, but for information. As the hours passed, human forces began clearing the last resistance zones. Supply stations were reopened for alien civilians. Clean water, food, and medical care were offered. Most aliens didn't understand why the humans were being kind. One old alien asked a soldier, "Why do you treat us with mercy after what we did?" The soldier answered simply, "Because we're not you." In orbit, human ships remained in defensive positions. They weren't expanding. They weren't claiming new territory. They were holding the capital, showing discipline. It's not hunger for conquest. Many alien species watching from afar started to question everything they had been told. On the planet Zeller, a schoolteacher erased a lesson from the board. We've been teaching lies, she said to her students. Humans are not myths. They are real, and they are watching. Some students looked scared, others curious. But none of them laughed anymore. Back on Zern Axis, night fell across the city. Night had returned to some areas. Others remained dark, waiting for repairs. Human soldiers rested in shifts. Drones circled the skies. The city was quiet but not dead. Commander Eli looked out over the city from a tall tower. Beside him, Kara sipped water from a metal cup. How long do you think we'll hold this place? She asked. As long as we need to, Eli replied. We didn't come here to rule. Came to show them we never left. Kara nodded. And what if the other fleets return? Then we'll be ready. We didn't win with numbers. We won with purpose. She smiled slightly. They'll never forget us now. Eli stared into the stars. Good, because we're not just survivors anymore. We're the proof that silence doesn't mean defeat. It means preparation. I'm down below in the heart of the Empire's greatest city, The world that once denied their existence now lived under the watch of the very people it had tried to erase. The Empire's throne room had once been the most guarded place in the galaxy. No outsider had ever stepped into it without permission. Now the walls were cracked, and the golden floor was stained with dust. Human engineers moved around, scanning. For traps and hidden systems, Commander Eli stood near the center, holding an old Empire scroll. It was filled with laws written in alien language, laws that had once justified the destruction of humanity. Beside him, Kara was reading through captured files from the central database. "Look at this," Kara said. "They passed orders too. Hide every mention of Earth, to delete our records, to even arrest anyone who said our name in public." Eli looked at her. "They didn't just want us gone. They wanted us forgotten." "But now," Kara said, "we're everywhere." Reports kept coming in. From across the Empire, smaller systems were surrendering. Border outposts were raising white flags. Governors were resigning. Other species, long treated as second class by the Empire, had started rising in protest. Humans had started a chain reaction, but it wasn't over yet. "We have to act fast," Eli said. "They'll try to rebuild, or worse, strike back." Kara agreed. "There's a fleet forming in the Eastern Rim. Over 20 warships. They're calling it the Restoration Force." Eli stared at the screen. "They think they can take this planet back? They think we're still weak," Kara said. "Just like before." Eli smiled. "Then let's prove them wrong again." Deep beneath the palace, in a locked vault, human tech teams discovered something unexpected. It wasn't a weapon or a ship, it was a library, a hidden archive filled with data from before the Empire's rise. Old records, old maps, and stories of the first contact between humans and aliens. One file showed a photo, a human shaking hands with a tall, feathered alien, both smiling. "So we were friends once," Megan said, looking at the screen. "Until power made them afraid of us," another tech replied. Eli arrived to see the archive himself. He walked through the rows of glowing files. There were voices, faces, even videos of early meetings. It felt like walking through a forgotten world. "They didn't destroy all of us," Eli whispered. "They just buried the truth." He turned to his team. "Send this data to every system. Let them see who we really were before war changed everything." Soon, messages were being broadcast across the galaxy, not warnings, but history. Videos of human kindness, peaceful cooperation, and teamwork with alien species. It shocked many. The humans they saw were nothing like the monsters they were told about. On the planet of Jera, an old alien historian cried as he watched the footage. "I was just a child when they said humans were evil," he said. "But they were like us. They just wanted peace." Meanwhile, in space, the Empire's Restoration Force approached Xernaxis from their lead ship. Admiral Exer spoke to his officers. "We take back the capital. We crush these ghosts. And we erase them again." His crew nodded, unaware of what waited for them. Above Xernaxis, the human fleet had already prepared. They didn't match the Empire's size, but they didn't need to. They had better tech, better strategy, and something more powerful than numbers: purpose. On the command bridge, Kara checked the scans. Enemy fleet in sight. 30 minutes to impact. Eli looked calm. Activate defense grid. Ready? The silent mines. The mines were human-made, small, invisible to scanners, and deadly. They floated around the planet in a pattern only human ships could avoid, as the Empire's fleet moved closer. The trap was set. 20 minutes later, the first explosion lit up the void. Then another, and another. Alien ships disappeared from the radar one by one. Inside Admiral Exer's ship, alarms screamed, "We're under attack." "But we can't see them." Exer shouted, "Fire in all directions." But it was useless. The mines weren't just weapons, they were smart. They moved, adapted, and attacked weak points. In less than 10 minutes, the Empire's Grand Fleet was broken. Eli watched it all from the surface. "Status?" Kara replied. 17 ships disabled, 5 destroyed. The rest are fleeing. Eli gave a short nod. Let them run, and let them tell the story.
Ag.
Back in the city, human soldiers helped restore basic services. They set up water systems, opened food stations, and repaired power lines. Alien citizens watched in disbelief. One old alien approached a young human soldier. "Why help us?" he asked. "You could just rule us like the Empire did." The soldier smiled. "We didn't come to rule. We came to be remembered." By the end of day 2, the capital was fully secured. The Empire's command structure was broken. Their fleets were scattered. Their lives were gone. On every world, the message was clear. Humans were not myths. Humans were not weak. Humans had returned, and they had done what no other species could: take the most powerful city in the galaxy. In just 48 hours, the twin moons of Xernaxis hung low in the night sky as silence spread over the once mighty capital. Where there had been noise, marching soldiers, and shouting commanders, there was now only the quiet hum of human patrol drones and soft footsteps. On stone streets, the 48-tower clock had reached its end. Commander Eli stood at the top of the Empire's main tower, looking down at the city. The same tower where emperors once looked out with pride now belonged to a man whose people had been erased from history. Kara joined him, her voice low. "We did it. The capital's under control. Their fleets are in retreat. No resistance left." Eli gave a slow nod. 48 hours, just like we planned. "And the galaxy?" she asked. "Watching," he said. He wasn't wrong. Every major species, every neutral system, every outlaw colony, every one of them had watched the fall of Xernaxis. It was impossible to ignore. Not because of destruction or chaos, but because of how quietly it happened. How fast, how human. In just 2 days, humanity had done what no other species dared. Not by crushing civilians or burning cities, but by targeting power, control, and lies. The very heart of the Empire had been removed with precision. But the mission wasn't just about taking the capital. It was about what came after. In the lower districts, human medics treated injured aliens. They gave out supplies without asking for anything in return. Food lines formed. Even some alien soldiers, once enemies, now stood in line peacefully, confused but not harmed. "We came to send a message," Corporal Lena said as she handed out food. But it turns out, helping others speaks louder. Alien children watched. Human troops fixed broken playgrounds and water lines. Few brave ones even waved. Slowly, fear turned into curiosity. On the Empire's main broadcast system, the last speech was about to be delivered. This time, it wasn't just a warning. It wasn't a show of power. It was a promise. Eli stood before the camera in a simple uniform. No medals, no weapons. Just the old Earth symbol on his chest, faded but proud. "To the galaxy," he began. "We were not born for war. We were born on a small blue world, full of oceans and storms, music and mistakes. You erased us because we were different, because we didn't kneel." His eyes scanned the camera, but we didn't disappear. We survived, we grew stronger, and we remembered. Paused for a moment, then continued. "You told your people we were nothing. Now, in just 48 hours, we took your capital. It's not to rule, but to show you that forgetting us was your greatest mistake." The signal spread through every system, every corner of the galaxy. Miners stopped digging. Pilots froze mid-flight. Shopkeepers and students, soldiers, and leaders all watched. Eli finished the speech with simple words. "The city is no longer a symbol of your power. It's a symbol of our return. And from this day forward, every time you look to the stars, you will remember us." The signal ended. The screen went black. But the silence it left behind was louder than anything the Empire had ever broadcast. On distant worlds, statues were torn down. Rebel flags rose. Enslaved species found new strength. In the shadows of forgotten moons, messages were sent not to fight humans, but to join them. Even in old Empire strongholds, doubt spread. Many began asking, what if humans weren't the enemy all along? Back in Xernaxis, a group of alien scholars came forward. They offered to help rebuild the city, not for the Empire, but for peace. We were lied to, one of them said. Now we want to learn the truth. Eli accepted, not with a handshake or ceremony, just a nod. We don't want revenge, he said. We want memory, and a future where it matters. In the command center, Kara smiled as she looked over the incoming messages. Alliances forming. Requests for diplomacy. We've shaken the stars. We didn't shake them, Eli said. We woke them up. Later that evening, the human teams gathered in the palace courtyard. The Empire's giant symbol had been taken down. In its place stood a plain metal plate with one word carved into it. Remember, no victory speeches, no parades, just quiet respect for those who had fallen. Before, and strength for those who now stood tall. As night deepened, Eli walked through the city alone. Not as a conqueror, but as a witness. He passed ruined statues, cracked roads, and wide-eyed citizens. Some stared, some nodded, but none turned away. In those moments, he knew the mission had truly succeeded, not because of firepower, but because the galaxy could no longer pretend humans were gone. He stopped by a fountain and looked up at the stars. For the first time in a long time, the sky felt open. Not just for revenge, not just for survival, but for something greater. A future where humans didn't have to hide. A future where their name meant more than fear. And most of all, a future where no one ever dared to say again, as though humans didn't exist. The end. Part 6, complete 950 words. The full 6-part story is now finished with a strong and emotional ending. Let me know if you'd like the full story in a document file, or if you're ready for the next title.